Another word for economic profit is supernormal profit, because it is more than normal profits. When we say that the firm is making zero economic profit, it doesn't mean the firm is making no profit at all. The firm is still making some profit. It is called normal profit. Please make a note and please write that in the exam. Just because the firm is making zero economic profit, it doesn't mean it's making no profit. It is still making normal profit. What is normal profit? Normal profit is the minimum required by the owner. Normal profit is the minimum required by the owner, which is equal to their opportunity cost. Normal profit is the minimum required by the owner, which is equal to their opportunity cost. So it's already included in the cost curves. It's already included in the cost curves. Supernormal profit is extra, more profit than this. For there to be supernormal profit, where should the price be? For there to be supernormal profit, the price needs to be above what? ATC, right? For there to be supernormal profit, the price needs to be somewhere above ATC. We'll call that P2. But what could cause the price to go up like that? Something like in your assignment, the price could have gone up if there was an increase in demand. So if there was an increase in demand, the price would go upwards. If there was an increase in demand, the price would go upwards. And the firm will start to make supernormal profit. You need to mention why, which not many people did. You need to mention that now that the price has gone up, because price is MR, the profit maximizing rule will now give you a higher quantity. So the quantity produced will now go up. So you would explain it step by step. If there is an increase in demand, the price would increase because the firm is a price taker. The price is the price has increased, so the firm will produce more because of the new profit maximizing position. So the firm will increase the quantity, and you will need to show the new profit carefully. Profit is always P minus ATC times Q. So this rectangle now represents economic profit. The firm is now making economic profit. economic profit is also known as supernormal profit. This will only remain in the short run, because as soon as these economic profits come in, other firms will want to join the market. Can they join? Yes, I mentioned that in the exam, that they can join because there are no barriers. So show the market that you know the reason new firms can join. Tell them why firms want to join, because of the profit, supernormal profit. Tell them why they can join, because there are no barriers. So supply will shift to the, when new firms join, the market supply will shift to the right. Okay, no graph in the exam will be this crowded because we've done like a million things in this. We've talked about efficiency, we've talked about short run, we talked about long run, we talked about demand increasing. You wouldn't have so many things happening in one graph, right? So this graph has way too many things happening in at once. That's why in the assignment I said draw this separately, because we wouldn't expect you to crowd one answer with several elements like this, yeah? So please understand that you don't have to write a million things like this. It depends on the question, yeah? The question may be explain the long run, or explain the short run, or explain efficiency. We're not going to put 5 things in the same graph. Supply will shift to the right because new firms join. Supply will keep increasing, the price will keep decreasing, that rectangle will start to shrink, it will disappear, the price will go back to where we were, and we'll end up back at Q star. So many coffees, none for me. The market quantity has increased because there are now more firms in the market. Is the firm productively efficient in the long run? Is the firm productively efficient in the long run? Yes. And I have no space to write that. So, can you find your own space? The firm is, wait, I found some space. The firm is that's just the visualizer itself. The firm is productively efficient because we've minimized long run average total cost. We've explained what will happen in the long run. Part C, how would this differ from monopolistic competition? Perfect competition has one similarity to monopolistic competition, which is there are no barriers to entry. So whenever there's profit in perfect competition, new firms will join. Whenever there are profits in monopolistic competition, new firms will join. They can only join in the what run? They can only join in the long run. They can't join in the short run. They can only join in the long run because they need resources, therefore they need time. Firms can only join in the long run. If you could make a note, in perfect competition, when new firms join, we say supply shifts to the right because the products are identical. Because when a new firm joins, we have more of the same product in perfect competition. But this does not apply in monopolistic competition when a new firm joins. In monopolistic, if you could make a note, in monopolistic competition when a new firm joins, demand shifts to the In monopolistic competition, when a new firm joins, demand shifts to the left. Why? Because the products are different. In monopolistic competition, when a new firm joins, demand shifts to the left because the new firm steals customers from the old firms. Because the new firms steal customers from the old firms. The sound on this side is so different. You're hearing a different me. There's an echo here. New firms steal customers from the old firms, so each firm has less customers than before, so demand shifts to the left. Why would firms join monopolistic competition? Because they must be making supernormal profits. So let's draw a firm very quickly. I'll draw the demand curve not quite steep. If I'm drawing the long run, where would I draw the average cost curve? Above, below, or on? How much profit can the firm make in the long run? 0. So I should draw the average cost curve on the demand curve. I shouldn't draw it above, because if I draw the average cost curve above, wow, look at that. It actually goes to the long run by itself. It's meant to be. See, if you get it wrong in the exam, an inanimate object can get it right. How can you get it wrong? It's on your side now. That's the average cost curve. If the average cost curve is above the price, the firm will make a loss. If the average cost curve is below the price, the firm will make a profit. So in the long run, it's neither above nor below. It is on the demand curve. Okay, this is important. This is a minimum. This is not. This is not a minimum. This is simply a tangent. Make a note. Firms in monopolistic competition do not minimize average costs. Firms in monopolistic competition do not minimize average costs. And that distance is known as what, please? Anyone remember? The distance between the two is called excess capacity. Firms in monopolistic competition do not minimize average cost, and that difference in quantity is called excess capacity. The classic example is, if you look at a hotel, there will always be spare rooms in a hotel. In a restaurant, there will always be spare tables in a restaurant. That is what we call excess capacity. Unlike perfect competition, there's no incentive to minimize average costs. You can make another note. Unlike perfect competition, which we saw before, there's no incentive to minimize the average cost in monopolistic competition. Because monopolistic competition has more or less competition than perfect competition. It has less competition than perfect competition. Perfect competition has very many firms. Monopolistic competition has many firms. Less than perfect competition. How did the demand curve end up there? Well, before, the demand curve was above the average cost curve previously. We'll call that D1, we'll call that D2. And new firms joined the market. And hopefully you already made a note. When new firms join, everyone else's demand will shift to the left because the new firm takes customers from the old firms, the existing firms. So everyone else's demand shifts to the left. So that's why the demand curve ended up there. What do we call this distance? This vertical distance. The difference between the price and MC. This is known as the markup. Look back at the perfect competition graph, please. How much is the markup in the previous graph for perfect competition? What is the difference between P and MC in perfect competition? Markup is P minus MC. What's the difference? 0. You can make a note. In perfect competition, the markup is 0. Can you have a markup in perfect competition? If what you sell is exactly the same, Mitchell, can you show everyone your wonderful highlighter? If what you sell is exactly the same as someone else's, can you have a markup? No. So in perfect competition, the markup is 0. If what you sell is slightly different, can you have a markup? Yes. And the more different it is, look at this highlighter. It's not even a highlighter. But let's pretend it's a highlighter. Like the 7 colors at once. The more different it is, your markup will go even higher, right? The more different your product, you can add. The more different your product, the demand curve will get steeper or flatter. Look back at our market structures page. The more different the product, the demand curve will get steeper. So the markup will go up. The more different your product, demand becomes more inelastic, i.e. steeper, therefore the markup goes up. Which makes intuitive sense, right? If your product is quite different to everyone else's product, you'd have the luxury of being able to have a high markup. If your product is quite similar to everyone else's product, then you wouldn't have the ability to charge a markup. And if it's exactly the same, then you wouldn't have the ability to charge a markup at all. Yeah? So it's quite intuitive as well. I know there's lots of graphs in economics, but try and get the intuition as well. The steepness is about the uniqueness of the product. Very steep, quite unique. Very flat, products are quite similar. Very steep means you can have a huge markup. Very flat means your markup will be very small. Completely flat, your markup will be 0. How much is the excess capacity in perfect competition? Also 0. The excess capacity in perfect competition is also 0. Question: is monopolistic competition productively efficient? No. Monopolistic competition is not